So ban assault weapons, is there a bill? Yes, there is. So folks might know that Pulse nightclub is in my district. And so we lost 49 mostly queer, black and brown people at the hands of an assault weapon in our community. And since that disaster, that massacre took place, Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith has sponsored legislation to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. He has sponsored this bill every year since then. So it will be his 4th year getting sponsored this next session. And of course, we've never gone in one hearing on it. We are proud to support this bill. I look forward to co-sponsoring it again, and most every Democrat does. But it's also about getting a hearing. And there were at least 10 Democratic bills filed last session around gun safety issues. Those focused on Representative Margaret Good sponsored comprehensive background checks. I know Representative Tina Polsky in South Florida, she did a bill about gun storage laws in the home so that kids can't hurt themselves and get access to guns. Representative Cindy Polo did a bill around no guns in daycares. We filed legislation to keep guns out of the hands of domestic violence perpetrators. And our motivation in doing that is grounded in 2 things. One is that there is a pattern of mass shooters having a history of domestic violence. And so if we can keep guns out of the hands of those individuals, then we can hopefully prevent the next mass shooting. The other part of this coin is that it's very difficult to leave a situation of violence. It can become 5 times more deadly when there's a gun involved in the home. And our bill not only would prohibit the ownership of those who have misdemeanor domestic violence, but actually give law enforcement permission to temporarily remove a gun from a home when they respond to domestic violence. Because during the court proceedings, during conviction, those moments are also when someone can get killed if there's a gun involved. And then also, red flag laws are very much in the news right now. Senator Lori Berman had already filed red flags. And actually here in Florida, we do have a very modest red flag law. For those who know what that means, if someone is in danger to themselves or others, a red flag law allows family members, spouses to actually report that and have a gun be temporarily removed until the situation becomes more stable. And Florida has a version, it's very modest because only law enforcement can make that call versus a family member. But we do have that in law. It passed after Parkland. The legislature added that into the School Safety Act. And we want to see it expand. And I was actually talking to Senator Lori Berman before these 2 most recent shootings happened about this law. So it's always been a Democrat's MO, our focus to get more gun safety legislation, because we all know that if we don't do anything, more people will die. And we've been saying that since Paul's, we've been saying that since Parkland, and now we're saying it again.
Can you talk about Taylor Irby?
Yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, the case of Taylor Irby, so folks might have seen this in the news too. Taylor Irby is a Polk County mom who was experiencing a situation of domestic violence with her estranged, soon-to-be ex-husband. And so she actually made the decision after he attempted to hit her car with his car on the road to go to his place of home, his apartment, and remove his firearms and bring it to police. And then when she did that, she was arrested for armed burglary. Yeah, and the case is many, many layers to it, but the reality is that law enforcement need to know how to work with survivors of domestic violence, and that's not how you do it. And actually, we advocated a lot to help push away these charges, and fortunately, we were successful in that. The local state attorney for that region decided to drop those charges and charge her with trespassing only. So we were successful in removing those really harsh charges against her. But again, it speaks to this larger picture of how backwards we are when it comes to supporting survivors of domestic violence. And the lack of use of even law enforcement not using red flag laws. So just educating people that it's here and that police should use it with discretion. But the reality is that Florida is such a pro-gun state that folks don't want to do these. They don't want to even practice the laws that we have as law enforcement officers. And part of that too is the influence of people like Marion Hammer, who is the National Rifle Association's longtime lobbyist. And I'm really proud to say that we discovered over 6 years she was not filing her financial disclosures as a lobbyist. And so we actually filed a formal complaint with the Florida House and the Florida Senate alongside Senator Perry Thurston, and we filed our complaint with the Public Integrity and Ethics Committee in the legislature, demanding that this be investigated and that action be taken against her. And we're still waiting for an answer from Chair Leak of that committee. We filed this complaint at the end of May. So when we get back into session, I hope we'll have an answer. But our hope is that she'll either be severely penalized with fines for not fulfilling this responsibility, and even better, that she be restricted and banned of her lobbying practices. But we know that every day we're up against a lot. Being a Democrat in the Florida House is very much playing defense. What I will say is I take a lot of pride in building bridges where we can, but never being shy to hold people accountable when we must. And so there have been moments for us in our legislative office of working with our Republican colleagues on issues where we can't find common ground, though they are rare and few between. I think it's important that as inclusive people, we try to find those moments to seek common ground, to be the leader of the conversation alongside others by opening up our hearts and having empathy. But it's tough in the Florida House, especially when many of our Republican colleagues feel pressure that they don't toe the line, they'll be punished by leadership, whether it takes place in budget allocations, stripped of their chairmanship or chairwomanship. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of internal politics around why many Republicans just don't do the right thing.